Imagine a holding a coin. When you think of a nickel, a Jefferson 5 cents coin probably comes to mind instantly. It's the coin you toss into a fountain for good luck, the change you give without a second thought, and the one that seems to always turn up at the bottom of your pocket. But in 1999, something unusual happened at the U.S. Mint. An error that would transform certain Jefferson nickels into treasures worth far more than their tiny face value. Among those remarkable coins is the 1999 P. Jefferson 5 cents error, a piece that has captured the attention of collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike, and one that has sold at major auctions for staggering prices ranging anywhere from $17,000 all the way up to $210,000. Imagine a coin worth 5 cents in your hand that could secretly be worth more than a luxury car or even a house. The Jefferson nickel has long held a steady place in American coinage, first introduced in 1938 to honor Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States and author of the Declaration of Independence. The obverse design by Felix Schlag featured Jefferson's portrait, while the reverse depicted Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home. For decades, this design remained familiar to the public, and by 1999, people thought of the Jefferson nickel as ordinary, unchanged, and easily overlooked. Yet in that very year, amid millions of standard nickels being minted at Philadelphia, a handful slipped out with mistakes so rare and striking that they became numismatic legends. Coin errors are one of the most fascinating areas of collecting. They can be as subtle as a misaligned die or as dramatic as a coin struck on the wrong planchet. In the case of the 1999 P. Jefferson nickel, several types of errors emerged. Some coins were struck on planchets meant for other denominations, such as dimes or foreign coins, resulting in pieces that are undersized, lighter, and instantly eye-catching to a trained collector. Others had dramatic off-center strikes, leaving Jefferson's portrait cut in half or shifted in ways that should never have left the mint. Still others displayed double strikes or die clashes, where overlapping details create ghostly images across the coin surface. These mistakes are not just curiosities, they are windows into the minting process itself. Moments frozen in metal where machinery, pressure, and timing slipped out of perfect alignment. For collectors, the thrill lies in rarity and condition. Millions of nickels rolled off the presses in 1999, but only a tiny fraction bore these extraordinary errors. And when one surfaces in pristine condition, graded at high levels by professional coin services, the value skyrockets. That's why some of these error nickels have crossed the auction block at life-changing prices. Consider the emotional impact of realizing a coin you've carried in your pocket, perhaps for years, might actually sell for over $100,000. That's the magic of the Jefferson nickel errors, and especially those from 1999. P-Dot auction houses have told some unforgettable stories about these coins. Collectors, both seasoned and new, often walk in with modest expectations only to watch bidding wars erupt over rare examples. One particularly stunning 1999 P. Jefferson nickel error, struck dramatically off-center, yet preserved in near-mint state condition, shocked the room when it sold for a breathtaking $210,000. Think about that for a moment. $210,000 for a coin most people wouldn't glance at twice. The excitement of that auction rippled across the collecting community, reminding everyone that hidden treasures still exist in the most ordinary places. But the story of a 1999 P. Jefferson nickel error isn't just about big numbers. It's also about the connection between people and history. Each of these coins carries the story of a mistake, a moment when human oversight or machine malfunction changed the course of an ordinary object. In the hands of collectors, these coins become conversation pieces, teaching tools, and heirlooms. They remind us that perfection isn't always the most valuable thing. In fact, imperfection can be priceless. For those wondering how to spot one, it pays to know the signs. Always look closely at 1999 P. Jefferson nickels for unusual weight, size, or off-center designs. Coins struck on dime planchets are smaller and thinner, while off-center strikes can range from slight shifts to dramatic cuts, where Jefferson's face seems to vanish into empty space. Double strikes create overlapping or ghost-like details, sometimes showing parts of Monticello out of place. These features may not jump out at first glance, but with a magnifying glass and a little patience, they become clear indicators of extraordinary value. Collectors often say that the hunt is just as exciting as the discovery. And in the case of the 1999 P. Jefferson nickel error, that hunt can be incredibly rewarding. Stories circulate of people finding rare examples and change, tucked away in old jars, or passed down unknowingly from relatives. The dream of uncovering a fortune hidden in plain sight keeps collectors motivated, searching roll after roll, year after year. It's a reminder that history isn't just locked in museums. It might be sitting in your pocket right now. The significance of the 1999 P. Jefferson nickel era goes beyond its monetary value. It represents a moment in time when something unplanned slipped through the rigid precision of the mint, creating an object that would fascinate generations. And the fact that these coins have achieved prices from $17,000 to $210,000 only adds to their legend. They are proof that small things can carry enormous weight, and that the line between ordinary and extraordinary is often thinner than we realize. The next time you handle a nickel, especially one minted in 1999 at Philadelphia, pause before you dismiss it as just another coin. Take a closer look at Jefferson's portrait at Monticello on the back, at the edges and weight. You might be holding a piece of history worth tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Because as the incredible sales at auction have shown us, the 1999 P. Jefferson 5 cents error is not just pocket change. It's a hidden gem, a treasure that proves even the smallest details can hold unimaginable value, waiting quietly for someone with sharp eyes and a little luck to uncover it. When you think of nickels, it's easy to assume they're among the most ordinary coins in circulation. They've been with us for decades, jingling in pockets, sliding through vending machines, and disappearing into change jars without notice. But every now and then, a coin comes along that shatters that sense of ordinariness. The 1991 D. Jefferson 5 cent coin error is one of those stunning surprises, a coin that started its life as just another nickel and wound up becoming a highly coveted rarity. Some of these remarkable error nickels have crossed the auction block with hammer prices soaring from $27,000 all the way up to $253,000. That's right, a coin that was meant to be worth just 5 cents ended up valued higher than luxury cars, college tuition, and even houses. To understand why the 1991 D. Jefferson nickel error has captured so much attention, you need to start with the backdrop of the early 1990s. At this point, the Jefferson nickel had been a mainstay in U.S. coinage since 1938. Felix Schlag's design, featuring the portrait of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello, his Virginia estate on the reverse, had become iconic. By 1991, millions upon millions of these coins rolled off the presses at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. But at the Denver Mint, something unusual happened. Among the countless perfect strikes, errors slipped through, mistakes that should have been caught, but somehow escaped into circulation. These mistakes transformed the nickel from mundane currency into a legendary collectible. Error coins are fascinating because they reveal the human and mechanical imperfections in the minting process. The errors from a 1991 D. Jefferson nickel are no exception. Some of the most sought-after varieties include off-center strikes, where Jefferson's portrait is shifted dramatically to one side, leaving blank space where design should be. Other examples include double strikes, where the coin was struck twice with slight misalignment, producing ghost-like images across the surface. Some of the most extraordinary examples involve wrong planchet errors, where nickel design was struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination altogether, such as a dime or even a foreign coin. These wrong planchet errors are especially rare, and when found in pristine condition, they command astronomical prices at auction. The thrill of these coins is in their rarity. Millions of nickels poured out of the Denver Mint in 1991, yet only a tiny fraction bore such extraordinary errors. And while most circulated nickels will never amount to more than face value, these errors stand out immediately to the trained eye. Collectors who stumble upon one often describe the experience as surreal, because it feels like finding buried treasure in the most unexpected place. Auction stories involving the 1991 D. Jefferson nickel error are particularly thrilling. In one notable case, a dramatically off-center error struck at Denver was preserved in exceptional condition. Bidders at the auction house knew it was rare, but as the price climbed higher and higher, even seasoned collectors were left stunned. When the hammer finally dropped, the coin had sold for well over $200,000, leaving the audience buzzing. That sale wasn't an isolated case, either. Time and again, high-grade error nickels from 1991 D have drawn extraordinary attention, proving that collectors will pay top dollar for quality and rarity combined. What makes these errors so fascinating is that they aren't deliberate. They're accidents, moments where machinery slipped, alignment failed, or a wrong planchet was fed into the press. These accidents reveal the complexity of minting, a process that requires perfect precision to produce millions of coins day after day. And yet, it's those very accidents, those deviations from perfection, that end up creating coins worth more than almost anyone could imagine. For collectors, the appeal is twofold. There's the financial allure, of course, knowing that a small coin could carry life-changing value. But there's also the deeper connection to history. Every error coin tells a story, not just of the minting process, but of the time period it represents. The 1991 D. Jefferson nickel errors are like little windows into the past, carrying with them the quirks and imperfections of their era. They remind us that even in a world striving for efficiency and perfection, mistakes slip through, and those mistakes can become priceless. Spotting one of these errors isn't always easy, but there are key signs to look for. Off-center strikes are among the most visible, with Jefferson's portrait pushed awkwardly to one side and missing parts of the design. Double strikes create overlapping or shadow-like images, sometimes making Monticello appear duplicated or distorted. Wrong planchet errors may be trickier to identify at first glance, but differences in size, weight, and color can give them away. Collectors often recommend checking coins carefully with a magnifying glass or scale, because the difference between an ordinary nickel and one worth over $100,000 can be subtle to the untrained eye. The hunt for these coins is part of what keeps the hobby alive and exciting. Imagine sorting through rolls of nickels from the bank, not expecting much, and then spotting a bizarre off-center strike from 1991 with a Denver mint mark. The thrill of that discovery is indescribable, and it's what fuels collectors to keep searching. Stories abound of people finding valuable errors in circulation or tucked away in old jars, passed down from relatives who had no idea of their worth. Each discovery reinforces the sense of possibility, that treasure may still be hiding in plain sight. The sheer range of prices achieved at auctions underscores the importance of condition. A circulated example of a 1991 D error might fetch a respectable sum, but a coin preserved in mint state or with minimal work can catapult into six-figure territory. That's why collectors often stress the importance of professional grading services, which provide assurance of authenticity and condition. With documented provenance and certification, a coin's value can increase dramatically, making it even more desirable to serious buyers. When reflecting on the extraordinary journey of the 1991 D. Jefferson nickel error, it's impossible not to marvel at the irony. A coin intended to be worth 5 cents can, under the right circumstances, become worth hundreds of thousands. It's a reminder that value isn't always tied to size or face value. It's tied to rarity, demand, and the stories we attach to objects. These nickels, once ordinary change, now represent opportunity, history, and the thrill of collecting all wrapped into one. The next time you hold a nickel from 1991 with a Denver mint mark, don't just assume it's ordinary. Take a closer look. Examine Jefferson's portrait, the details of Monticello, the edges, and even the weight. Because as collectors and auction houses have proven, some of these coins have sold for staggering amounts, with prices ranging from $27,000 to an unbelievable $253,000. The kind of transformation from pocket change to priceless treasure is what makes the world of numismatics so captivating. And who knows, you might just be holding a hidden gem worth far more than you ever imagined.